Now should have had algebra. Some of you had trigonometry, so you have that advantage. The rest of you, you need to pay attention to this because we're going to go over what we need to know about the right triangle. Now, what do you mean by a right triangle? Well, in a right triangle, what happens is one angle is going to be 90 degrees, right there, and the sum of the three angles, there, and the 90 degrees, that comes out to be 180 degrees. Now, that's not actually crucial to know that, but yes, you should put that in the back of your mind. Well, for one thing, they came up with the Pythagorean theorem. This side, which is A, that's called the adjacent side. This angle right here, it looks like a zero with a line through it. That's called theta. The Greek letter theta. And then this side right here, this is called the opposite side. It's the side opposite theta. And then C, that's the longest side, and that's called the hypotenuse. It's called the hypotenuse. Like that. So let's just take a very simple example. Suppose A is equal to 3, B is equal to 4, and we want to determine the value of C. Well, for this right here, you have 3 squared, that's A, 4 squared, that's B, you have C squared. Well, 3 squared is 9, and 4 squared is 16. So 9 plus 16 is 25. And that means that C is going to be the square root of 25, and that comes out to be 5. Now that's one example of a right triangle. Others are 5, 12, and 13. Could be a whole number of them for that matter. Now to figure out the angle is, you can use something called the sine, the cosine, and the tangent. So the sine of the angle, S-I-N-E, sine, S-I-N-E, it's abbreviated to S-I-N. The sine of theta, sine of that angle, that is equal to the opposite over the hypotenuse. So that's going to be equal to B over C. Now, our little example right here, B was equal to 4, and we figured out that C was equal to 5. So the sine of the angle is going to be equal to 4 divided by 5, and that comes out to 0.80. Now, one of the requirements for this class is to have a simple calculator, a scientific calculator. It should have sine, cosine, tangent, square roots, square of numbers, that sort of thing. And I have 2 here. I'm going to use one of mine right here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in 0.8. I'm going to put in 0.8. So 0.8. All right. And if I'm going to figure out the angle is, I have to press second function sine. And I didn't do it right. Second function sine, 0.8. And it's still giving me a wrong answer, so I'm doing something wrong again. Second function sine. Still doing something wrong. And so I do it the old way. I know that comes out to be 53 degrees. Fortunately for me, I can do a lot of things without a calculator, and that's embarrassing. That's okay, you can laugh. It's fine. We'll laugh. We laugh together. Sometimes we don't really laugh at each other, we just laugh together. So this angle comes out to be 53 degrees. Now, if you don't want to use the sine, you can use the cosine. And the cosine would be the adjacent over the hypotenuse. And that's going to be A over C. Well, the value of A was 3, and the value of C is 5. So A, 3, divide 5, that comes out to be 0.60. And I'm trying to figure out what I did wrong, so I'm going to try one more time with my second calculator. Okay. And I think what I should do is put in 0.6 second sine, and it's still wrong. So I'm not going to use the calculator today. I should have done this before I came to class, all right? Okay. And then what you do is you use your calculator, you find out the angle, still comes out to be 53 degrees. Finally, the only other one that you need for this class is the tangent. And the tangent of the angles, T-A-N-G-E-N-T, T-A-N-G-E-N-T, is equal to the opposite over the adjacent, and that's going to be B over A. And that's going to be 4 divided by 3, 1.33. And then what you do is you figure out the angle, and the angle should still come out to be 53 degrees. All right, okay. Now what I'm going to do is I want to go to some of your homework. So you're going to get a list. It's called the lesson plan for the class. The lesson plan will have the problems you have to solve and then turn those things on. And my assistant is telling me I should stop right now.